Live from the CBW Radio UK studios in Chelmsford, this is Off the Record with Big C and his trusty companions, Jazzy Geoff and Stinky Pete.
Jazzy Geoff and Stinky Pete, welcome to Off the Record to both of you, and welcome to everyone who's watching on YouTube, on Facebook, or on Twitter that I will repost, although Elon wants us to call it X. So on Twitter, we'll be on Twitter basically.
Elon can X off.
He can.
Elon can do one.
He can do one. So we are having fun tonight on episode 222. It's taken us 222 episodes to go rogue, basically. Or if spell check has anything to do with it, gone rouge. So we don't know what we're going to talk about tonight. We've got no topics. We've had no prep, which is a good thing, actually. It's saved a bit of time during the afternoons that I'll be having an afternoon nap, for example. But we don't know what we're going to talk about. So we're going to just start something and then see where it goes. How are we feeling about that idea, Geoff, since it was your idea in the first place?
I'm not pointing any fingers. I'm glad you put that out
there. Along the lines, I was going to get the blame for this. Shall I tell you what made me think about this?
Tell us, yes. Geoff. Tell us.
There are two things. I held two fingers up there, just in case. There are two things that made me think, actually, why don't we give this a shot? One is a few weeks ago, and it might have been a few more than that, but like not that long ago, we were having I don't even know what we were talking about. And at least two of us said, oh, I know, there's a really great anecdote about that, but we haven't got time. And I thought, that's really sad. Because actually that's putting some of the fun stuff that we could have put in aside just to get through the list of stuff that we've got in front of us. So that was one thing.
What was the second thing, Geoff?
That made me think, actually, it might just be fun just to have a chat. Yeah. The second thing is Pete's fault.
Excuse me, I haven't been here for weeks. How's this my fault?
So it's taken me, I've been doing this for 18 months now, which is very sweet of you all to keep listening, although no doubt your figures have dropped off as a consequence. But
what's fallen off? Their fingers.
No, figures, you deaf twit.
I thought you said their fingers had fallen off. I was thinking there's no pianists listening. Anyway, yeah, sorry.
So, Pete and I grew up in exactly the same house.
Yes.
Albeit he's masses older than me.
Masses.
And we grew up listening to the same musical influences that our parents had. We were a relatively music-filled house. And talking about the stuff, and generally speaking, until he went to university and I didn't, our upbringings were pretty much the same. And yet I have an entirely, there are crossovers, but I have an entirely different musical taste to him.
You do?
And I don't know why.
Well, that's a very good question.
Because
when I was scribbling down something, I think, what can we talk about? And I wondered about this myself. I thought,
well, I don't know what you and Alan
as a general rule.
What are you and Big Al the same?
Me and Big Al, I suppose, like you and Pete, maybe we were very similar up to the point where even after he went to university, Big Al, because he was the one that got all the punk and the new wave singles, brought them back and albums and stuff, and we used to go to the same gigs. Yeah. I don't know. Perhaps I'd like to say that my tastes spread a little bit wider than Big Al's now, but I don't know. That's because I'm just playing music all the time and hearing all these different sounds. But I did find it interesting that the two of you, I was going to think, well, what about just why do tastes differ so much generally? And is it background? And then I was thinking, well, you two were brought up together in the same house, as you said.
Exactly. So although there must be a degree of environmentalism in it, that there must be, because that's why people with difficult backgrounds end up with difficult lives. People with privileged backgrounds end up thinking they're privileged. You know, so it must be the same. But
Well,
there
I
must
agree.
be something else. There must be something else within music that makes a personality go, that works for me. That doesn't work quite as hard for me.
Yeah, you see, I'll get Pete to have his word in a second, but as general, I don't understand. If someone likes something else that I don't like, I just consider that they're wrong. I'm
Absolutely.
sure
And
Pete's
that's
the
right and
same.
proper.
I'm sure Pete's the same. You know, I don't understand. It'd be a lot easier if we always say it'd be boring if everyone liked the same, but there'll
But
be
it
no
wasn't.
arguments along the way, would there? That's the good thing. And I hate arguments generally. Pete, what are you going to say? Anything on that subject?
No, I mean, I think actually this part of I was kind of thinking the same thing as Jeff, but part of it came from this week that I spent in San Sebastian at the Jazz Festival, which I'll kind of come back to later because I
Yeah.
think that it's kind of allied to that conversation, but you know, not the same. Um, I I think Jeff's right. I think there is an issue about nurture and nature and the way you're brought up and what you grow up listening to. And part of that is you grow up listening to stuff and you go, "Oh, I like that." And so you end up listening to the same stuff as your parents did, which certainly, if I think about some of my kids, that's kind of like the influence I've had on them. Um, but then I think the other side is there's the rebellion thing, which says, well, I'm going to listen to stuff which is totally different from what my parents did. So, if you take the view that most of a lot of your musical tastes come about in your teenage years, then this kind of idea of teenage rebellion, then maybe that comes in, clothes and music and film and kind of like stuff which is about saying, I want to be different from from my upbringing.
Well, I know that. Well, your dad is well into his classical music, wasn't he?
Yeah, classical and jazz, but traditional jazz. Is
Oh,
that
right, a
right,
bit of
Jeff?
folk jazz.
Sorry, Pete, what was that?
Dad was big in his classical, but he was also into jazz, but it was more traditional jazz.
Yes, Dad's jazz stuff was very much Louis Armstrong, and Harry James and all that sort of stuff.
Like
Not
my dad.
not the slightly sort of offbeat. Oh, he liked a big band. Like he liked a bit of Glenn Miller and a bit of Count Basie, but Ellington was way off for him. That wouldn't have interested him at all. So it basically, from the jazz perspective, if he could dance to it, he liked it.
Okay, yeah, I suppose you can't dance to Duke Ellington, can you, so much?
Not really, no. But you know, like a lot of the bigger stuff was dance music
Well, a
to
big
one
band stuff
extent or
was.
another. Big
Yeah,
band music.
Oh, yeah, true.
yeah, yeah.
Glenn Miller, you could have a dance to, that's for
You
sure.
can. But see, there's another situation. So mum and dad were both really good dancers, and they danced a lot. Pete thinks dancing is shit,
As he
and I
said before
quote.
many
Well,
times.
okay, hang on. There are two. Oh no, this is a serious point. If I watch, so like when I was thinking about. I just some of the pictures came up on my. You get that memories come up on your phone
Yeah, oh, yeah.
for pictures from this time in 2018 when I was in Kharkiv in Ukraine, and it was one of the times I was there for 10 days on holiday, and I was sitting in a park. There was a tango competition going on, and I was awestruck by how brilliant these dancers were. But there's a difference between what mum and dad were great dancers, and when we had to go to family things and mum and dad danced, they were brilliant at it. But it's never interested me, partly because I've got the coordination of a drunk epileptic. But secondly, I also just am not interested in it. I don't want to put in the effort to learn the steps because I don't care. And so I think that there is then this thing which is about saying you've got to want to do something. Otherwise, what's the point? So I kind of get the thing that dad liked and mum. I mean, some of the stuff that mum would have liked. So like Herb Alpert and all that kind of stuff. That was all kind of, it was dancey with a small D.
Tijuana Brass and all
Yeah,
that.
Tijuana Brass, yeah. Exactly.
Did you know that he's the A out of A&M Records?
I did, indeed. No,
Herb
this.
Halpert. Yeah. Do you know who the M is?
Yes.
No.
And now you're going to say the names escape me. It's Jerry Moss, as a matter of interest.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you're right.
The Rolling Stones. The Rolling Stones were never on A&M, were they?
No. Okay. So
Rolling Stone doesn't gather any moss.
They don't gather any moss. Hey, very good. Very good. I won't go down that route then.
I hope you got some anecdotes then for Geoff. He wants some anecdotes.
No, it was just one of those situations where
I will tell the story of the epic trip back from the Reading Festival the first time I went in the Mark 1 Cortina, if we haven't already done that one. That comes later. I will go back to this thing about the music tastes being different. Okay.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about this a lot recently, and I was thinking about it as a result of going to the jazz festival, because we went to six concerts, and the two outdoor ones, there was this kind of African band leader whose name escapes me for the moment, Ben Tolliver. And he had a fantastic saxophonist and a massive great band, and they were playing stuff which had discernible tunes. And then the second half of that gig was Miles Davis's backing band from the 80s. So after Miles Davis recorded, I can't remember which, it might have been Feed a Kilimanjaro, I can't remember. But basically he had a break from 75 till 81. And when he came back together, instead of having the old band, he got together, so like Chick Corea and all that lot, he got this completely new band, 4 guys, and they played at this jazz thing, and they did the Miles live album, which is what they recorded with him, and they hadn't played together for 48 years. And then they had all these kind of Spanish players with them, and a saxophonist and a trumpet player, and the full nine. But it was the original 4, and they were absolutely fantastic. And they played the album, and then they played something off in. They played In the Silent Way, and they played something off Bitches Brew. I think they played Bitches Brew. But so that was kind of like accessible. The other stuff was 2 quintets. And then the last gig was this French avant-garde quintet.
Oh dear.
So, so it was a pianist and
what? Sorry.
a pianist. Who was the band leader? Okay,
right, okay.
Louis Sclavis, and then he had a bass player, and then he had a trumpeter or 2 trumpeters, or a trumpeter and a clarinet player, and a drummer. And we were 3 of us sitting in a line in this beautiful theatre, like a tiny version of La Scala in Milan, and for 20 minutes. There was literally no discernible semblance of a tune. And about 20 minutes in, suddenly the trumpeter started playing something, and I thought, okay, yeah, this is a tune. And then for the next hour, there was kind of sporadic tunage in amongst this total off-the-wall stuff. Now, when I walked out of it, the first thing the 3 of us all said to each other was,
"Well, that was shit, wasn't it?"
No, this is exactly the point. This is what pisses me off, because what we all said was that was really hard to listen to start with, but by the end, you understood what he was doing, and for that. And also some of the other gigs as well. I was sitting there thinking Colin would hate this with an absolute passion. But you would have done. Yeah, well, you would have done. I don't think you would have hated the outdoor gigs. I think there was enough there for you to appreciate the musicality, and especially that there was a black woman saxophonist. She was incredible, and she also sang as well. And she was amazing. But so I don't think you would have felt.
Did she sing with the sax in her mouth at the same time?
No.
Like Peter Frampton-esque.
No, she didn't. But she was very good nonetheless. Anyway, the point I'm making is this. this led me to think about exactly this point you were making about upbringing, etc., etc. And I have come to the following conclusion.
Ooh.
Some people listen to music as background, as something to dance to, as something to sing along to, as that. I don't. I listen to music to be challenged by the playing and the writing and the lyrics and the construction of the music. So stuff which is played for pleasure, for want of a, and I love music, it's my life, but stuff that is played for pleasure in one ear and out the other ear, it goes in one ear and out the other ear. So it doesn't engage with me at all. And if it's something where I think that sounds like dance music, and I'm, we need to be careful here. Saturday Night Fever is one of the great albums. A lot of that black soul music is dance music. Not that I will be seen dead dancing, but I appreciate that it's good for what it is. But I would far rather listen to 25 minutes of Yes playing Awaken, because it challenges me musically. And 2.5 minutes of the Ramones is great, and I'm quite happy to listen to it, but I'd never choose it because it doesn't do anything for me. And for me, that's the difference.
Even though you like it, though.
Yes, I don't dislike. I mean, there's stuff I dislike passionately, but most music I can listen to. So, like this morning when Shaggy requested that song, and I messaged you and said, "I love this. It's really good."
Yeah.
Whatever. Well, I can't remember what it was. Whatever it was.
It was called Joe.
Yeah. It was a really nice song. I like the words. I really like the delivery. So, it's not that I don't like it. It doesn't challenge me. And maybe the point you made, Geoff, about me going off to university, maybe that was the catalyst. Maybe when you're in an academic environment, you look at things in a different way. I don't know, but I've never thought about that. But that
Big Al was in an academic environment, and he didn't think like that, did he?
Well, I mean, I don't know because I'm not Big Al, but
that's true. But you I know an interesting point there you make about if you take back what you say there, you just you like to be challenged. Something you can't do yourself. You want to be challenged to do it. To understand what it's all about. Can we not take that back to dancing? Because you said earlier on about dancing that it's not worth the effort or something, didn't you?
Yeah.
In the same way.
Yeah, exactly.
So why don't you put the effort in to do that? Because you just can't be bothered.
Well, I can't be bothered, and I don't have the rhythm, and I look an idiot. So I just think, what's the point? Why would I want to look an idiot in front of other people?
In fairness,
doing something
if I may just jump in here for a second.
Yes.
I've seen Pete play football.
Yeah, I was crap at that too.
And you tried really hard, bless your heart.
I did. But listen,
I
was never under any illusions.
The concept of that vision dancing is not one which is particularly enjoyable. Exactly. But that's not what dancing is about. Dancing is about enjoying your own self.
Yeah, but I don't.
Maybe with a partner, maybe with a group, but actually it's an inward sort of release of stuff.
No.
It is just fun.
Well, it's like what Pete was saying earlier on. He didn't like to know what step goes after which step and this, that, and the other. And I was thinking when he said that, well, you don't have to know what step is after which step.
But Mum and Dad did. Enjoy it and just.
Yeah, well, but I mean,
if you do the waltz or the quick step or the foxtrot, then you do. You need to know what they are.
Yeah, sure.
And I've done that for a little while. I did it like every night for 8 months or whatever it was, and it's actually quite hard work. Much easier on your own, but when you've got some person on the other side of you, and you're trying to get there. It's quite hard work, and actually, until you're in well, like Mum and Dad were, but like like these guys who work so hard on the television. Not that I have ever watched it. Like when you get that right with a partner, then the exuberance is immense. But actually, otherwise, it really is quite hard work. Whereas the sort of dancing that you do to Dancing Queen and Disco Duck or whatever it's a very different sort of thing. It's just a release of energy and fun and all that sort of thing.
That's it. That's literally not what I would do to release energy.
But you can't talk about that because the BBC will be on the phone.
No,
which we didn't have last week.
Last week we had no BBC.
No BBC contacting us.
It's a fair point. No, seriously, for me, the release of energy. If I release energy, I'll go for a walk. You laughed about football, but what I was good at was tennis and squash, and I was halfway decent at basketball. So I did those things. But the bottom line is that that is not a release for me. I would rather shove headphones on, lie on my back on the floor between the speakers, and listen to a Mahavishnu Orchestra album. Because that forces me to access the music. It doesn't go in one ear and out the other. It forces me to listen to the parts and go, why are they doing this?
Do you think that those of us that listen to Take That or the Kinks or the Beatles, do you think that we don't access the music?
I'm not saying you don't access the music. I'm saying that for me, I can listen to an entire Beatles album, thoroughly enjoy it, but it will go in one ear and out the other. Same with the Kinks. Take That I wouldn't listen to, but any of
why? Why wouldn't you listen?
Because I don't like it.
Well, you don't know. You won't listen.
No, I did. You played. Colin plays stuff, and I've listened to Take That. I've got kids who listen to Take That. I just,
Are you embarrassed about that?
This is making.
Can I tell you a little anecdote before we go any further? Because we've got time to do anecdotes. Have I told you this before? I might have done. So years and years and years and years ago, when Jules and I were first together, Take That, the album Take That, the one that where there were 5 and then there were just 4, and they changed the sleeve. Yeah. Do you remember that, Cole?
Take That and Party, was it? Was that the one?
No, it's not. It wasn't called Take That, but it's the one where it was Robbie's last one.
Yeah, okay.
Whatever that was called. It might be. I don't think it was called Take That and Party. I think that was the one before it. Anyway. Yeah. So it's the one that it started with 5 of them in the sort of like the one in the middle and 4 around the edge. And then when Robbie left, they reprinted it with just 4 faces on it. But anyway, so I thought I'll get this for George's birthday or whatever it was. And I went into a John Menzies shop in Letchworth. And I was looking around and I found the thing and I picked it up and I went to the counter and there was this young spotty lad behind the counter. Okay, we're going to have some fun here anyway. So I said, whatever. And I don't remember how much it was. And he's told me how much it was and I paid him money and he went, "Would you like that in a brown paper bag, sir?"
The answer would be categorically yes.
I said, no, I'm man enough to walk down the street.
With the CD under your arm.
Under my arm, I wore it on my forehead.
Yes. Whatever the name of it was.
I can't remember what it's called. I think it's just called Take That.
It could be. I don't know. I'm not an aficionado with all of that, unlike yourself, Jeff.
I mean, I like them, but I was only using it as an example. I think it's. I do hear what you're saying, and there are moments when you go, "This is nothing of nothing," but that doesn't stop me enjoying it. It doesn't stop me enjoying the fun of the music, or the stupidity of the music. But sometimes, even like the poppiest of pop stuff, you listen to it and you go, "Do you know, that is a brilliant bass line," or yeah, there's just little bits of it. We were listening earlier. Colin played "Bye Bye Love," the live version by Simon and Garfunkel.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, it is brilliant, except for actually there's no two-part harmony in it. They're both singing the same, which is a bit weird. But what makes it brilliant is the little guitar stuff that's going on in the background. And then he does that, the little solo-y bit, and suddenly the crowd go mad, and you go, actually, they're just having fun. They're just having fun being good musicians.
Yep.
With a good song. I mean, it's not a great song. But it's a good song, you know. And
like Pete, I could listen. I could lie down on the floor, and I could have a couple of speakers either side of my ear and listen to an album from start to end, and really enjoy it and listen to it properly. Listen to it. And hear all the guitars, hear the drums, hear the vocals, hear the harmonica, hear the bass, whatever it is, and get a kick out of that. But it doesn't have to be. I mean, I don't want to repeat what we were saying, but it doesn't have to be like really complicated. It doesn't have to be showing off how good you are at particular instruments. It's just, yeah, I mean, it's just great music for me. And
Well,
I
I mean, that's a classic example. So if you take that principle, I mean, I listen to albums, not singles, you know that. So you know, Lynyrd Skynyrd is not complicated music,
no,
but I
No.
can sit and listen through any one of their albums and love every minute of it. Now I don't know why. I mean, I've seen them live loads of times. They were brilliant live. They just write good Southern rock songs, and absolutely all of them you can sing along to in your head. And you know that they're good musicians, but they're not prissy about it. So it doesn't have to be that. You know, I could sit and listen to Pile Driver right the way through, which is about as uncomplicated as you can get. But
well, there's some
it's
quite complicated bits on Pile Driver actually, and there's some good guitar work on that as
there
well.
is
But
some very
yeah,
good
I take the point. It could be any Quo
but it's,
album.
you know, so what I'm saying is it's not, it isn't about that. I don't get on well with music that's wallpaper, music that goes in one ear and out the other. So if I had to take that song and I've got no idea what it would be because I don't know what they did, but I'm sure I've heard hundreds of them over the years. The very fact that I don't know them is because it went in that ear and out the other. And it might have been great harmonies and great tunes, but it just goes in and it goes out, and I don't remember it.
Yeah, that's because you have a set idea about what you like, though, no?
No, but you see now.
And
So right,
if it's
so
not, it's a real barrier there, and it's difficult for these
no, it's
bands
not
or
because no,
singers
it's not
to break through unless you've heard
because
like a
I
bunch
listened.
of
No,
songs.
no, not at all. Because I listened to those albums that you got us to listen to when we were doing that stuff the other week, and it was all stuff I didn't know, and with the exception of half of that, whoever it was, the Randy Newman, I liked all of them. So they were all new albums, and I particularly liked the Shires one. I thought that was brilliant. Interestingly, I've just spent a week with members of the family, and I spent the weekend with Kizzy, and she's got a little vinyl player which she bought. And I bought her a load of albums for Christmas, you know, from Gordon, Linda Ronstadt, and James
Yeah,
Taylor, and various people. And we went to this fantastic antiques play. I spent money on just stuff. It was wonderful. It was like this massive, great antiques and memorabilia place. And I bought her a copy of Janice Ian with the one with 17 on it, and said, "You'll like this." And I bought Joan Armour Trading's Love and Affection, I think, is the
Show
one I
some
bought,
emotion.
which I played yesterday. Thoroughly enjoyed it, which I knew anyway. But the point for the story is we were sitting down having a cup of tea on whichever night it was, Saturday, and we ended up talking about music. And I said to her, "Do you know, have you listened to Man from Mexico by Meal Ticket?" And she said, "No." So she fired it up on Alexa or whatever it is, and she loved it. and then basically played through the entirety of Code of the Road and half of the next album. And she said, "This is fantastic." So I said, "Yeah, it is." And she said, and then we were talking, and by this time it was getting late, and we ended up talking about this Noah Khan bloke. Is it Khan, whatever his name is?
Oh, I can't. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she went and saw him with her mates at Hyde Park last year. And I said, "Well, I know nothing about this bloke." She said, "Let me play you some stuff." Basically Neil Young. So I really liked his stuff. So that was completely new, knew nothing about him, never heard any of it before. So it's not true to say that I don't like stuff that isn't in my genre. I would say that actually I like stuff across a massive range of genres. I just don't like basic pop songs. I think that's what it comes down to.
Okay, fair enough. We're not gonna change anyone's minds about it anyway.
I don't think there's a need to change people's minds.
No,
It's
no,
just
there isn't a need to
interesting to
change.
work out if there
Why
is a
there's a difference.
personality thing, or whether it's a, like if there's a reason behind it. So
And of course, Pete loves a long song,
he does love a long song.
whereas
Well,
we're
see,
quite happy with a short song. And I mean, we must have such a huge collection of music that for Stinks, it will just go in this year. I don't know which year it goes in first of you, Pete. Do we know which year?
Usually the right. It enters
Normally
the
the
right,
right and comes out
exits
the
the
left.
left. Yeah.
Okay. You know. And for those watching, as you always do on YouTube, or I do look like a Cyberman, as
You
Jeff
do.
once said.
You look
Yeah, you're looking very
very
cybernetic
much
today.
like a Cyberman.
Yeah, well, I've got this new headphones, which look exactly like the old ones. They just work a bit better, basically. For the next series, I think I should change it. Rather than Cyberman, I should look like a Dalek, maybe. Try that.
You're going to put a toilet brush on your head, like here.
I could try. Devoid of any emotion. Or was it, who's it said?
No, it's the Cybermen who are devoid of any emotion. They were the ultimate killing machines.
Oh, fair enough. I was going to say that the Daleks were pretty devoid of emotion, weren't they? I'm sure it was the comedian who died, Sean Locke, who once said, Sean Locke, yeah, that the Daleks were like devoid of any emotion, and I think he said something like that. They're like Piers Morgan on wheels, which is
Frankly,
about right.
That's an insult to Daleks.
I think it probably is. Exterminate and all that. All right, okay. So the same thing then would apply, presumably, with different rock bands or rock artists or pop or folk from the US side of things to the UK. Now, a lot of Americans will like different music to what we produce over in the UK, whether it be folk, whether it be rock. It is a different kind of punk that they have over there. Why is it all different? Why is rock so different over there as it is over here? Like I don't know, the Journey. Maybe Journey's not a good example because there's some Brits in there, aren't there? But you know what I mean, that sort of ilk. And there are bands you think, yeah, they'll do well in the States, like Cheap Trick. They don't do well over here. What's all that about? Answers on a postcard, if you wish.
I can't answer that question. Why some bands do well over there and other bands don't. I've never quite got my head around that. Whether that's a marketing thing, whether I want to be very careful how I say this because I don't want to upset anybody, and I don't want to use the wrong words because of it. But there is an excess and a perceived arrogance that Americans like that we don't, and I wonder whether that comes in the musical side of things as well. So I wonder whether, like the big bands like Toto or whatever, like the and Phil Spector with everything, all the kitchen sink stuff in there, like whether that actually appeals more to a society that is accepting of excess, and desperate for success, whereas we prefer things to be a little bit more held back. a little bit less in your face.
Reserved.
Why
Reserved.
don't we like Bono? We don't like Bono because he appears to be an upfront, arrogant, self-important person, which, from my understanding, for the people that I've met, barring two, every American I've met has been lovely. I've never met Trump, so let's say that would be barring three if I did.
He's a dick.
But actually, they like people to succeed. They like success. They like, like the idea of winning is important. They all, whereas we go, we did our best and came second, didn't we? Oh, didn't she do well? And
That's a Spurs mentality. That is.
But it is a Spurs mentality. Like if we ever win the World Cup again, we're not going to know how to celebrate it.
No,
because we're forever going, oh, they got so close, didn't they? Haven't they played so well to get that far? Bless them. Yeah. And I think musically we might be like that as well.
Interesting. Yeah.
But the Beatles spanned the Atlantic, didn't they?
Well, I was just about to say that argument falls spectacularly flat when you look at the kind of the reality of the situation, because basically the British invasion of America in the 60s was way bigger than the American invasion of Britain. So the Beatles, the Stones, the Who, the Kinks, and then you add Zeppelin and Floyd and all of those massive bands, which were not Floyd, but certainly Zeppelin. They were much bigger in the States than they were in the UK from the start, and their UK careers were built off the back of being successful in the States. I think the answer to the question, or so is my take on it, is FM rock. America's tradition of FM radio, where...
But that's modern.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Well, it's not. It's only 70s onwards.
Right back from the late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah.
So, right, yeah. But so if you talk about... We're not talking about jazz, we're talking about the big bands. We just said, well, why don't the big American... what's the difference? The Journeys of this world and the Totos and the Bostons and all of those big FM rock bands, they were played constantly on FM radio.
So why are they FM rock bands? Why are they called FM rock bands?
Because they appeal to people driving their soft top Mustang down the California state coastal highway with the roof down, listening to Journey. That's exactly why it's successful.
We've never really had anything like that over here, have we?
No,
music radio stations are on FM, but it's not like FM rock, as you say. All that sort of stuff. I'd bring you up on the how you said about the British invasion was far better than the American, or far greater, wasn't it? You said than the American.
The invasion, the British bands that invaded America were bigger than the American bands that invaded the UK.
I think a lot of that, would be down to the time that it happened. In that,
absolutely.
I think when Kennedy was assassinated, for example, in late '63, I think probably en masse the whole of America wanted to hear something that wasn't American, and I think that's what the Beatles caught on. And the Dave Clark Fives, who were actually probably a bit bigger over there than they were here. And the Searchers and Herman's Hermits were big over there as well. There's so many of them. The Hollies, they're all big over there. I'm not sure what the American equivalent would have been. We call it American invasion. What was the American invasion then?
Well, that's exactly
Hendrix
my point.
Okay.
But,
Green Day was the American invasion over here.
Yeah, but that was much later.
But there's never been one. Some of the soul stuff came across, but the bands didn't tour. So basically, the English bands worked their nuts off to tour the States because breaking America was really important. The American bands basically didn't give a stuff about this tiny little island the other side, because breaking the UK didn't matter. They got a big enough audience as it was.
What they do, yeah. I mean, everything is so big in America, isn't it? That
Oh,
yeah, they
huge.
don't really need. And again, not wishing to offend anybody listening, but you know, a lot of Americans probably aren't even aware there is a country over in the UK or in the other side of the Atlantic. You know what I mean?
Did you see? This is vaguely related to this conversation. Did you see that? I can't remember if it was on Twitter or Blue Sky or something, but I was interviewing an American guy. And apologies, Shaggy, because you're not this person, but they were interviewing this American guy, and he actually said, "Why do the English speak English like we do in America? Why don't they speak a European language?"
Okay.
And I'm sitting there going, okay, how stupid do you have to be to actually say that? The clue is in the word English.
It's in the word,
That
in the
was
language.
literally, actually something that somebody said being interviewed on the street. And at that point, I thought, well, you deserve Run DMC, mate, because that's about as good as it gets.
Was he a MAGA?
Almost certainly. But I
Yeah,
mean,
well,
anyway, I digress.
I've only ever been to the States once. We were there for 18 days. We drove a long way. We spoke to a lot of people. And all of them, bar two, were absolutely lovely.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Absolutely lovely. And
I
like,
agree 100%.
like so pleased to see
Friendly,
and to talk about and want
welcoming.
to talk about anything English. Like they
Yeah.
And
didn't
talking
want to
funny
talk about
language.
America.
And us talking in a funny accent.
And us talking in this, oh, it's so cute.
Yeah.
So, but you know, it's and
Are you
and
from New England?
I wonder whether that's part of the situation where they'll listen to our bands and go, actually, it's an English band. It's really cute. It's like it's English music.
Yeah, but
Whereas
it's not really cute,
we'll
is it?
listen to the
Because
American bands and go, it's loud, it's brash, it's perceived arrogant.
but that again, if you want loud and brash, I'll give you Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin. They were loud and brash.
But they're not. They're not brash. Well, I mean,
They're loud.
They are loud.
Certainly,
They are loud. I wouldn't
Deep Purple,
categorize
loud.
Black Sabbath as the same as, say, Van Halen, for example, or bands like Van Halen.
Yeah,
I'm trying
Guns
to
N'
think what the
Roses,
other
yeah.
ones. Guns N' Roses, yeah, they are. I mean, they are both of them actually quite more melodic than I'd say Black Sabbath ever were.
Yeah,
agree.
Which I think is fair to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just weird.
Let me ask another question.
Looking at the. Sure, go on then.
No, all I was going to say was, so if you take the view that there was this British invasion, the Beatles and the Stones and the Who and the Kinks and Dave Clark, etc., kind of like from post-Kennedy through till 1970 when Zeppelin, or 69, 70 when Zeppelin came on the scene, why was it that Jefferson Airplane, the Grateful Dead, Love, and all those bands from the 60s. Hendrix, you've got to put on his own because Hendrix is a unique case. So, you know, he made his career, although he was American, he made his career in England. So park Hendrix. But all of those other bands from that era, and if we're honest, you think about the songs that we grew up with, a lot of them is that stuff from the Summer of Love, sort of like 66, 67, 68, you know, all the Scott McKenzies and all that kind of stuff. Why did that? We all know those songs, but why didn't that have traction in the UK like the Beatles and the Stones and the Kinks had in America?
I don't know. What it was a more of a would you say a lot of it started in San Francisco and the sort of druggy, the Haight Asbury, Haight Asbury, and the twangy guitars. I don't know why it didn't really catch on here. Because a lot of the stuff, like you mentioned, I mean, some of the songs weren't hits over here at all. I don't know whether they released like White Rabbit, Jefferson Airplane, classic.
Yeah, classic.
Alone Again or By Love,
Exactly.
I think is a superb tune.
Great tune.
And that wasn't a hit until the
But they're one-offs as well. They're one-offs. Whereas what we took across were not just one-offs, but albums as well. We took a body of work. So like the Stones will go across to tour for the Sticky Fingers album. I don't know, but you know what I'm saying. Like the Beatles would go across with whatever it was called, Please,
Proper Soul or whatever.
And they would tour the album. So as everything was known, whereas a lot of the other bands, well, A, they never came across, as we said earlier, but B, like we would go, okay, yeah, that's a great song. I mean, I love the Always Forever album or whatever it's called, the Love album. Brilliant. But actually,
Forever Changes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. But actually, there's 3 songs on it that anyone knows.
Yeah. Well, if you're a fan of the band, you know the album.
That's a different issue.
Yeah, it is a different issue.
But the man in the street, you go across to people of our age and a bit older, 10 years older, and say, like, name me 14 Beatles songs, and they'll name you 14 Beatles songs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's a good point.
Whereas Love, you wouldn't pick out more than 2 or 3. I wouldn't.
And More Again, Alone Again, or
Orange Skies.
No.
Yeah, Orange Skies.
This house is not a hotel, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
You're right. Like Loving Spoonfuls, another band that they had a few hits over here. The Turtles.
Were they Canadian?
Loving Spoonful?
Yeah.
Were they? I don't know. No, I don't know either. That was John Sebastian. I don't think he was Canadian. He might have been American. I think he was anyway.
I don't know.
No.
There
were some great bands.
You learn something every day.
You do. And I was looking at I'm a bit of a chart fiend, and I was thinking this.
Really? I would have never spotted that.
I know. It's shock, isn't it?
It was weird.
You'd be telling me you don't like Elvis.
Was there a time when you used to publish lots and lots of singles on your Twitter feed, as I recall? That was when I started following you. Yeah.
Yes. And you didn't stop immediately when you saw those.
No, weirdly.
Very kind of you.
That was when I worked out that you were the younger brother of one of my schoolmates, so I kind of...
Yes, so as soon as I got on the radio, I thought, well, I'm not going to do that. I'd much rather people actually play the songs and listen to the songs rather than just, you scroll through the stuff on Twitter. But anyway, that's a different matter. I was talking about the charts and how bands seem to last a little bit longer in the States in the charts rather than that they do over here. And I was putting that down to, like, they might have a really big hit over there, and then they'll have another one, and then maybe another one, and another one. Whereas over here, they have it as a big hit, maybe a one-hit wonder, and then nothing else they did was much good, so no one bought them. But in the States, because the charts have such an amount of airplay in the listings, look, if someone has a really big hit, I think, oh yeah, let radio stations we'll play this next song by them as well. I'm trying to think of an example.
So does that mean that if a radio station in Texas plays an album or a song ad infinitum for weeks, it could get to number 1 on the Billboard across the country, despite the fact that it's never been played in New York?
Well, I suppose it's possible. It'd take a hell of a lot, because as we've already established, America is a very big country.
Well, yeah, I'm just using it as an example.
I know. I think if it's exclusive to one state, that would be more tricky. But they're just generally airplay featured in the listings.
They say, and no way of proving this, but the urban rumor, the urban myth is that if you turned on a radio in the States across the country at any given point in the day, one of them would be playing Stairway to Heaven. So in other words, it was played 24/7, 365 somewhere in America. Now, with that kind of coverage, it's little wonder that it became the iconic song it did. Whether you like it or not is irrelevant. But so, I think that it comes back to this thing about FM radio. If you've got loads and loads of, and there's was having a very interesting conversation about this just this week, about how when back in the 70s and 80s, well, back in the 80s and the early 90s, there were radio stations with 2 a penny in the UK, and if you wanted to get into radio, you could pretty well go and work wherever you liked. Whereas now there's very, very much fewer, and they're all concentrated in a few big corporates like Bauer, for example. And so it's very hard to start off in a career in radio unless you're doing it with CBW, obviously. But in America, you've got so many of these FM stations playing all of this stuff which is current all of the time. So it kind of just becomes, it's like everybody knows it. And I think that has an impact then on chart performance. It has an impact on what people like. And maybe then this thing about, like Toto and bands like that, the American Heartbeat albums, bands, then those songs are all singable. I defy anybody to not sing along to Africa and Rosanna and Hold the Line and Eye of the Tiger and Harden My Heart and Quarter Flash. All those songs, they are sing-along songs. And if you drive in your car listening to FM radio, that kind of stuff sticks in your mind, doesn't it? And
does it not go in one ear and come out the other?
Well, I think not if it's a soundtrack. If it's a soundtrack to your life, to the life you live, then probably not. In any case, they're good musicians.
It goes out one window and out, in one window.
I'm joking.
Oh no, we're going to go back here.
I said that to wind you up.
Yeah.
I said that to wind you up,
and it worked.
It did, because you just did the ducking your head below the desk thing.
I did that.
I'm looking forward to when you move house.
Is the billboard still all done on play rather than sales?
It was never always done on play. I mean, it was sales and airplay. It would have been. I think also that you mentioned Stairway to Heaven there, Pete, but I mean, I think also it would have to be technically released as a single as such for it to make the chart, I think. And that was the same over here, actually. And Stairway to Heaven, of course, was never released as a single over here because Led Zeppelin didn't want, or their record label or the manager didn't want any singles over there. They were an albums band.
Yeah.
So it wasn't released over here. But yeah, I think it was both.
How stupid is that financially? Just saying.
Well, in the case of their album sales and the number of concerts they did, it isn't.
Can you imagine how many single sales Stairway to Heaven would have sold?
Well, yeah, maybe.
Like
they were so big. They were so big it didn't matter. They were the first band to own their own aeroplane. I mean, they just
It was a long single, wasn't it? Really, I assume the single released in the States was the full length.
Well, yeah,
8 minutes or whatever it was. Yeah, 7 or 8 minutes. Yeah, because that's another thing. They edit them down, don't they, a little bit?
Yeah. And
so how much of Stairway to Heaven could we have cut out for a single? I'm going to go 6.5 minutes.
No, you wouldn't. You'd take out the guitar solo.
That's what I just said.
Well, the guitar solo's a minute and a half. Anyway,
well, Jeff is not a Led Zeppelin fan.
I don't mind a bit of Zeppelin, but no.
Well, it's like Freebird. Like Freebird, of course, the edited version didn't have all of the 5 minutes of guitar at the end, a single version. It just had the.
That would be a pretty terrible single because the whole point of Freebird is the guitar solo. But anyway, sorry, not guitar solo, guitar trio. Anyway, that's
all right. That's okay. On a similar note, then we're talking about tastes in music and whatever. Today I played a lot of covers. That was the covers day.
You did. I thoroughly enjoyed the covers day.
What covers? What's the point in them? I mean, really, as a general point, I mean, is there really any mileage? I know you have a strong opinion on this, Pete. Any mileage on someone recording a cover version of a song in exactly the same way? Is there no plus factors to that at all? No, nothing at all.
I think it does depend.
It attracts new listeners of a certain age nowadays. And they hear that by their favourite bands and think, oh, that's good. And then they go back and listen to the old version.
Maybe. For me, I think that I think it depends on the band, and it depends on the reason that they did it. So if we take the band that you, at the end of your show today, playing the song that I requested, if we take the view that Thunder
Thunder.
are probably the great covers band,
Rock.
yes, of their genre. If you take the view that that is the case, if you listen to that version of Gimme Shelter, which I requested, it ain't that different from the Rolling Stones version. It's different in that Danny Bose's voice is clearly very different from Mick Jagger's, but it's very clearly and recognisably the same song. But nearly all of their covers are done for the Thunder Christmas gig. And the Thunder Christmas gig, until Danny Bose had his accident, the Thunder Christmas gig was one of the highlights of the rock music year. And you would play some acoustic stuff, and they would play some of their songs, and they would play 4 or 5 covers, and then they do Happy Christmas Everybody by Slade as the final song. And so a lot of those covers are done in the context of a Christmas party. So I don't think that they have to be hugely different because of the context in which they're done. Now, if someone is recording a song to put out as their version of somebody else's song, I don't really see the point of doing that unless it is demonstrably different. Because all it's really saying is I've nicked someone else's song and I'm doing it the way they did it.
Okay,
and my question is, well, why?
If there wasn't, if that was it, there would not be so many of the hugely successful artists who release cover albums. So, Colin, you said earlier, Springsteen did a cover album, and he said that was the first one, but we're still waiting for the second one. Rod Stewart has done at least one cover album, and probably more than that.
It's a great American song. Yeah,
but that's slightly different. But okay. So that there are so many of these huge artists. Helter Skelter. One of you, didn't you ask for Helter Skelter?
No. Yeah.
I chose Helter Skelter, but you see, that's my counter argument, because Helter Skelter is the U2 version is very clearly and demonstrably different from the Beatles version.
Yeah, but
so in other words, well, again, no, it isn't. It's one of the best. No,
it's one of the worst Beatles songs that there is.
It's one of the best. It's one of the best Beatles songs, and it's covered in a different way by U2.
Yeah, I think this all comes back to, and you touched on it with the American Songbook. I think this all comes back to pre-recorded songs. So back in the day, a man wrote a song or a lady wrote a song, and people could buy the song and perform it.
Yeah. And that's how they make their money.
And that's how they made their money. That's what they did.
Yeah.
Nowadays, what you're doing is hearing a recording, buying the recording and recording it. It's the same concept. And actually, so many people, so many artists will go, I just love this song because it has a memory from my childhood, from my first marriage, from the time I stopped taking drugs, whatever it might be. So I'm going to do a version of it. And actually, most of the time, the way that the song was done in the first place, because that's how the artist who wrote it heard it and wanted it, it's the right way of doing it. And you've only got to listen to, I can't remember, I picked up Norah Jones doing whatever it was, doing...
the Bob Dylan song.
Dreadful.
Close Your Eyes. Yeah, didn't like
Dreadful.
that. Okay.
Did you like it?
Oh, well, I don't mind it. Yeah, I don't mind it. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a great
I'll be
song.
your baby tonight.
I'll be your baby tonight. It's a great song. Didn't suit her, but in my opinion, but she obviously wanted to do it, and good luck to her. And I don't have an issue with people doing it exactly the same way as it's been written in the first place. Because actually, if you go into pub after pub after pub after pub and listen to bands playing, which is what we do in the in the church stuff, like we will try and mimic the original as far as we possibly can within our ability. So I don't have an issue with it at all.
And I don't have any issue with that whatsoever. I've spent years, when Rowena and I first split up, going off and going to pub bands on a Saturday night around St Albans and all round, and they were, bands doing covers of other people's songs and doing them as faithfully as they could to the best of their ability with the musical talent they had. I don't think that's the same thing, because what they're not doing is recording it. And I think as soon as you record it, what you're saying is, I mean, I get your point. If there is a memory for me, and I'm a musician and I'm a famous musician and I've released a load of albums of my own songs, but there's a particular song which has a memory for me and I want to record it as a faithful representation of that memory. Yes, totally get that. Nothing wrong with that. But I just think, and maybe this is just me, I just think that if you're going to take someone else's song, there's so many different ways that you can treat it. Be respectful of the original.
Nah.
but do it differently. So, well, okay.
Let's start with it wasn't Eddie Grant, was it? Was it Eddie Grant who did Wild the Cat Stevens song?
Oh, Wild.
It wasn't Eddie Grant, was it?
Who was it? It was. Yeah, let me think. Carry on. What were we going to say? I'll think about it.
Hardly respectable of the original, is it?
Maxi Priest, was it?
Maxi Priest, that was it. Yeah.
All I was going to. Okay, so John Mayer's version of Free Falling live in Los Angeles, Disturbed's version of Sound of Silence, Hendrix's version of All Along the Watchtower, Derek and the Dominoes version of Little Wing, Manfred Mann's Earth Band's version of Blinded by the Light. They are the song, but they are treated. But the Carpenters' version of Ticket to Ride, which I love.
Yeah, but
the same song, recognizable as the same song, but done in a different way. And for me, that is what I want to hear in a cover. It's taking someone else's song and interpreting it in your way. And I think
how often are the covers better than the originals?
Frequently.
Like this is sacrilege to every true rock and roll on whatever out there. But ELO's version of Roll Over Beethoven is better than the original, in my opinion.
Yes, it is.
It's a great cover, though. It's a great
superb.
cover.
Superb. Jeff Buckley's
so
version of Hallelujah is way better.
Yes.
Well, that's true. And a lot of Bob Dylan songs I find are better by other artists, I find.
And quite a lot of Springsteen songs are better by other artists as well.
Arguably. So it's something got to do with their voices then, basically.
Oh, yeah, it may be. But also, I just think...
Or what we find is that actually it's the songs that aren't quite as good, that the original artist isn't quite as committed to, that someone else takes hold of and goes, I can make that better.
Maybe that's true. That's not a bad shout, yeah. I mean, you mentioned Ticket to Ride earlier on, for example. I mean, I don't know whether you knew, but I'm quite keen on the Beatles.
You should say more often, because I think people are forgetting.
Yeah. You don't say it often enough.
You mentioned that it's obviously the same song. I don't think it is obviously the same song. Actually, "Ticket to Ride" by the Carpenters. I think if this old man this old man, no, not that song. If you're seeing a man or a woman on the street and they listen to that, and they weren't necessarily Beatles fans, but they would have known the song, if you get what I mean. I wonder whether they'd recognise the fact that it was the Beatles song "Ticket to Ride." Pardon the fact they mention "Ticket to Ride" maybe in the lyrics. That's
Several
beside the
times.
point. But it is fundamentally different, as you say. I love that version as well, but I can't help but prefer the way it was originally intended. And the same sacrilege for you, I'm sure, with a little help from my friends. I didn't play that as a cover today. Probably it might have been in the Afternoon Delights I played this afternoon, actually. But Joe Cocker's version, completely and utterly different and good in its own right. But if I put the two together, I'd have Ringo's nasally voice every day of the week for some reason, just because I think that's the way that it was written and the way it was meant to be
But that
performed.
but that then is exactly where I'm coming from, because I think that there is absolutely 100% value in the way that it was written and intended to be performed. So I could listen to "Ticket to Ride" by the Beatles and then "Ticket to Ride" by the Carpenters next to each other, and I wouldn't have to go, I prefer that to that. They're just different.
Because ostensibly they're different songs.
It doesn't matter how the writer intended it to sound if someone else has taken it and done it different. You know, Paul Simon did not intend "Sounds of Silence" to be done the way Disturbed did it. But for whatever reason, and the rest of Disturbed's output is mostly not very good, for whatever reason, with that one song, they absolutely nail it. And I don't know anybody who doesn't love that as a cover version.
Shaggy.
Oh, okay.
I
Fine.
think I'm right in saying Shaggy. I don't know whether you can hear this, but yeah, I don't think he's keen on the Disturbed version of "Sound of Silence" whatsoever.
Okay. Well, there's always one.
There's always one.
But the point I'm making is that, you know, that's a classic example, and so's Hendrix's "All Along the Watchtower." You know, they are both classic examples of something. I like Dylan's version of "All Along the Watchtower." I've got it on whichever album it's on. When I play it, I think, is it John Wesley Harding? Can't remember. Anyway,
John
whichever
Wesley
it's on.
Harding,
Yeah. When I played
I
it,
think so.
I thought, I do like this, but I absolutely love the Hendrix version.
I wonder whether that's a familiarity. So, like, Mighty Quinn is another one where, like, the Manfred Mann's version is superb, Dylan's is okay. And I think that's going back to what I was trying to say. Blinded by the Light, Manfred Mann's version is superb. Bruce Springsteen's is not quite okay, but it'll do. You know, it's some of the ones of those artists that they've not put the time and effort into to make it best.
Yeah,
and yet they're a good song underneath it all.
Mr. Tambourine Man. I mean, I would rather listen to the Byrds than Dylan's original, even though that was how he intended it to be, with his acoustic guitar and his out of tune harmonica, probably. There are so many of Dylan's songs I prefer done by other people, but yeah, I know what you mean. You could listen to "Ticket Ride" by the Carpenters, you listen to "Ticket Ride" by the Beatles, and you can like both. And you say, "Oh, you don't have to choose which one you like." It's only when someone says to you, "Which one do you prefer?" Like, if you had only one of them, which one would you have? That's all it is. It's not a question.
But then you get the other side of it, where actually some of the stuff that was coming up, we're going, I didn't even know this was a cover. So as an example, "Chanson d'amour" that I picked, like you know, like, who knew that was a cover? The "Jambalaya" was another one. Like, who knew that was a cover? I didn't know that was a cover until a few months ago.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But that's another thing, actually. Listen to cover versions. Is it purely and simply, and you'll say no, because there's a lot more to it. Is it a lot of it down to which version you hear first?
Yeah, I think it is.
And that is what you remember. And then when you hear another one, it's not quite as good the Carpenters doing Please Mr. Postman? Is it listening to the Marvelettes or listening to the Beatles doing it or whatever it might be? Or Jambalaya, like you might listen to the Carpenters and then you listen to it by Fats Domino or Jerry Lee Lewis or whoever it might have been. It's not quite the Carpenters, is it? It's purely and simply what is familiar to you, and if that's the first thing you hear. I mean, the first I was saying this on the radio the other morning, actually, a similar thing. Yeah, I think a lot of it is down to the fact that's the first version of the song you hear. I mean, I wasn't listening to a lot of music in the late 60s, I guess. There was a period of time after the Beatles went a bit funny, as my mum called it, after 66. I'd hear bits and
I'd
bobs.
love to have met your mum. Do you know that? I would. I reckon she was a
You
right
got me
class.
singles all the way up to Yellow Submarine, and that was it. After that, no.
No, they've gone strange now, Colin.
They've gone strange. Yeah, they have gone strange. And I understand what she means. They did go a bit strange, but they changed the way they were performing and producing stuff in the studio. And some are good and some are bad. But as Pete would say, he'd rather have someone trying something different than doing the same old stuff. Another thing,
but it doesn't always work, because a few weeks ago, I can't remember when it was, before I went, it was after I got back from Spain and before I went to see the kids, you played an absolutely execrable Lou Reed version of something which stank the place out.
that was bad.
It was awful. And
I
I
can't
like
remember
Lou
what the
Reed,
song was.
but
Yeah,
I know
it was awful.
It was terrible. It was one of those ones where you thought, if I don't stop listening to this, my ears are going to bleed. You know,
And it was long as well. It was long. It's like 6 or 7 minutes.
It was
It was grisly.
Whatever it was.
Quote you.
It was grisly. Totally grisly. Yes, indeed. Yeah, it was
I
horrible.
can't remember what the song was. It's annoying. I might have to check it out on my messages here. That will tell me. I was going to say something else there.
Yeah, go on. What were you going to say?
You've gone silent, Cole.
Well, I can't remember now. I got sidetracked by Lou Reed there. But no worries.
Which is something you should never let happen in life.
No, you get sidetracked by Lou.
No, I know what you mean. Though. I remember the Lou Reed song myself. In fact, I had such grief from people when I played that one. Actually,
really,
it was terrible. It really was terrible.
I think even Sarah texted me and said, "What is this?" You know, and then and then you messaged me and said, "Well, this is shit," or something like that.
In my usual erudite fashion, you mean?
Yes, and some of the songs I played I don't like necessarily, and you might not like. It sort of helps to have them in there just so that the next song sounds that much better. That's all I can say.
This is the time for you to be honest, Cole. Have you ever looked at someone's choices and gone, "Yeah, I'm not playing that"? No one else is listening. You're fine.
I've cut short a few, but that's quite easy to do. I can just sort of, segue in the next song, or if I'm not particularly keen on it, I throw in my. There's a couple of things now. One is from Blazing Saddles when they're doing the railroad and they do the singing of the all the black workers are. Doing the railroad, and he said, "Give us a good song and a work song, like Camptown, the Camptown Ladies and all this." And then they all start dancing, and then he comes in and says, "Hey, what the hell is that shit?" or something like that. So I've got a clip of that, so I use that, and also they had a clip. I had a clip of Ozzy Osbourne on Graham Norton's show, I think it was, when he was on with Olivia Newton-John, and she had I don't know if she had a new wine or as a new drink that she had, and she was promoting, and Sharon Osbourne gave it some to Ozzy to try, and he tried it, and he literally says, "What a load of bollocks," he goes. So that's a nice one to clip in as well. So no,
true Ozzy fashion.
I think I may have refused to play Blue Is the Colour.
Rightly so. You mean there are Chelsea fans
about it.
Listeners?
I know. Should be. Well, yeah, you have Chelsea fans, sadly, listening to sometimes. Can't be sad. A listener's a listener. What else I've got to say?
They are precious.
All right. Go on, you got something to say?
No, I was going to say. Well, I was going to tell my
black eye, Pete.
No.
Oh, okay, carry on.
No.
Just looks tired.
I basically spent my time sleeping in various kids' rooms, so I've basically had about one decent night's sleep in a fortnight.
BBC.
Yeah. Spare rooms in my children's houses, you prevert.
I know.
Anyway. So it's coming up this weekend next weekend to the Reading Festival, which, as we know, will be having had the summer we've had, it will be a weekend of torrential rain and mud, because that's what the Reading Festival always is, as you full well know, having been with me. But I was reflecting and having this conversation with someone else on the first one I went to, where we had the epic breakdown in Piccadilly Circus, which I can't remember if I've told this story before. If I have, listeners, please feel free to switch off and make a cup of coffee. But we went, and there was 6 of us in a Mark 1 Cortina, bench seats, 3 in the front, 3 in the back.
That's a story in itself, I'd have thought.
It was, yeah. 6 of us in the Mark 1 Cortina, no seatbelts of any sort whatsoever. Martin Neal driving, and our friend Dennis sitting in the front with his Philips cassette recorder on his lap, and a bag of batteries in the footwell, because obviously you couldn't plug them in, so it was a question of how long do the batteries last, and a selection of tapes, which, bearing in mind we were going to a rock concert, his choice of Leo Sayer didn't go down too well, along with various others which shall not be mentioned. Anyway,
And
we went.
You said, no, I don't feel like dancing.
No, indeed, I didn't. Anyway,
it's no wonder he's a one-man band.
So we did the Reading Festival, and we went because it was Rory Gallagher was the headliner. So we had a great time at the festival, drank Watney's Party 7, ate peanut butter sandwiches and rat burgers, and had a thoroughly good time. There was a load of good bands on. It pissed down with rain at some point. We all wore black plastic black plastic bin liners, as you do. And at about whatever time it finished, 11 o'clock, we all piled back into the Cortina and drove home, or at least that was the plan. Somewhere just coming into Piccadilly Circus, the exhaust pipe fell off the Cortina. But it didn't fall off the Cortina at the boot end. It fell off at the exhaust manifold end. So basically it dropped out of the engine. So effectively what we then had was a car with a pole vault, because it was on the ground making a lot of sparks. So we pulled into the side of Piccadilly Circus, and we all piled out, and it's well after midnight. And we said, what are we going to do about this then? And so I said to Martin, have you got your tools? And he gave me that look that teenage boys who've just got their first car have when they clearly don't have tools or a spare wheel or indeed anything else in the boot, which didn't involve drum cases and various other accoutrements that you didn't need. What we did have was a bread knife, which is what we'd used to cut the bread that we'd taken in order to have some kind of food. So we then took it in turns lying underneath the car, sawing off the boot end brackets with a bread knife. And after about half an hour, everything went very, very quiet. And I'd taken my turn, so I was just kind of standing on the pavement. And I watched with amusement as a police gentleman turned up and did what policemen do in this circumstance. I can't remember who was sawing at that point. It might have been Mark Stickley. But anyway, whoever it was, he said, excuse me, what are you doing? And Martin, being the smart ass that he was, said, and I quote, we're sawing the fucking exhaust pipe off with a bread knife. And the police officer said, are you going to be long? Well, I'm not entirely sure, officer, because I've never sawn off an exhaust pipe with a bread knife before. So he said, hurry along, lads. So fine. So off he went. Anyway, a few minutes later, this whole thing comes off. So you've then got, I mean, I don't know how long an exhaust pipe is from the tail box to the engine off a Mark 1 Cortina, but 10 feet probably.
Yeah,
Yep.
3.5 meters. Yeah.
So we carry it across Piccadilly Circus, and Martin leans it against Eros. And we get back in the Cortina and drive out towards Essex. Now, if you've ever driven a car which does not have an exhaust of any sort whatsoever, it is noisy.
Yes.
And
dangerous, I'd have thought.
it doesn't perform very well. Like 0 to 60 in 15 years, and it only goes downhill. Anyway, we finally got back to Buckhurst Hill, 4 o'clock in the morning, maybe. And I distinctly remember saying to Martin, drop me off at St John's. And he said, you live at the bottom of the hill. And I said, do you think that I want you to drive this car down Hurst Road at 4 o'clock in the morning with my mother and father? And he went, I take your point. So he dropped me off, and I walked from St John's back to the house, having spent effectively 24 hours awake with a lot of beer, a policeman, a broken car, and Leo Sayer.
Burning question now.
Eros.
The burning question now is, was Rory Gallagher worth it?
Oh, 100%. It was the first time I'd seen him live. He was absolutely brilliant. Yeah, he was fantastic. I saw him again the same year at
He's two guys, McAvoy and whatever the other fella's name was,
Wilger Campbell,
are playing in Chelmsford next year.
Oh, are they?
They are.
Oh, brilliant! That'd be fun.
With
I mean, it depends who the guitarist is.
somebody else playing the guitar. They're playing Gallagher stuff, but someone else playing the guitar.
No, interesting. Because you know, Joe Bonamassa's just done a Rory Gallagher tribute album.
I did not know that.
Covers.
Yeah.
More covers. More covers.
More covers.
Well,
so why would you do that? Like, what was the point? Has you done them any differently?
Because Joe Bonamassa would take the view that Rory Gallagher was the one who inspired him to play the guitar. So,
therefore it's acceptable to do a cover.
Yeah, which is the point you made. So yeah, indeed. Anyway,
we can't match your anecdote. I don't remember that one actually, so I don't think you've said it.
No, you probably can.
No, I've got any more anecdotes. And the only one I would come out with would be, and it's sort of musically related, I suppose. It's also medically related. I may have said this one before. When I had to see, this was probably about 25 years ago now, probably late 90s, when I was seeing a gastroenterologist, right? I won't give his name because he's probably been disbarred now. What's the word? Is it disbarred from the medical profession? Struck off, that's the word. Disbarred's a legal thing. Yeah, but it was quite a trendy one because I'd go into his room and he'd be playing, the music on the radio, which I thought that's pretty up tempo, pretty posh for a proper doctor and all that. It's quite nice. I don't know what the station was. I don't know. It wouldn't have been Essex Radio back then, would it? I don't know. But they were playing lots of music, and I was quite enjoying it, and talking to him. And the moment I had to get onto the bed, whatever, and prepare myself, as it were. You had to lean over on yourself. You've probably been there yourself. And there he is, putting the old glove on. And Moon River. Yeah. So
where's when he starts whistling the Japanese national anthem?
And no, I was enjoying the song that's being played, and he saw me enjoying it. I was sort of, nodding away to it, and he's just about to do all his business, and he said to me, "Oh, beautiful South." And I said, "Yeah, thanks very much. I do like to keep it tidy." And I can't remember the song, but there you have it. That's my anecdote for the day.
Shall I do a Reading anecdote as well while we're here?
Good.
Go on then, quickly.
So a couple of years after Peter done his, so he and I both went to Reading with his girlfriend at the time. And I'm not good with this sort of thing, so because I need my sleep. So like outdoor stuff, I'm not good at, like concerts and stuff anyway. And it was all getting a bit boring anyway. And the headline was Patti Smith or someone or the Motors or something.
It was Patti Smith, yeah.
But when we got there, I needed a wee, because that's what you do when you've been travelling for a while, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the toilets were all in one big long line, all along the just as you come in from the thing, they were all along the fence.
Yeah.
And they'd all got glass doors on them.
This I don't remember.
Like each they were separate cubicles, opening straight out, and they got glass doors. Now, admittedly, it was bobbly glass, but nevertheless, they'd all got glass doors on them. Well, without wishing to give too much of my personality away, I have enough trouble as it is, like weird in public, let alone with a glass door behind me. I think I went for 3 whole days without having a wee, because like there is no way I was doing it in there.
I thought you'd say 3 days to have a wee there. Blimey.
Absolutely awful. Not as good an anecdote, but there you go. I thought I'd just jump
That'll
in.
do. No, it's like
I was feeling a bit left out.
That can't have worked, because we slept in the back of a mini traveller.
We did.
In a park.
We did.
So at some point you must have had a piss.
Well, I must have done somewhere. Yeah, probably in the park.
In the park. Yeah.
But like, yeah, it wasn't happening on site. That's for definite.
So maybe Pete will coming over to watch Rory Gallagher with you next year at some point.
No, that sounds.
Well, not Rory Gallagher, but the songs of
Rory Gallagher. Would be exciting, wouldn't it?
Well, there's a topic for you. I mean, if you were going to have like, how long we got then? We got about a quarter of an hour. So I mean, I was thinking, like, what about then if you had to, if we could make our own off the record super group, right? And you could bring back a vocalist, a lead guitarist, a rhythm guitarist, a bass guitarist, a drummer, a keyboardist. Who would we have? Who would you want to bring back and have in your band? Or would that take too long?
Flipping Nora.
What, she'd be the lead vocalist, yeah?
Yeah, she was really good, Flipping Nora.
Athletic.
As opposed to snoring, Laura. Snora. Golly gosh. Gene Krupa on drums, surely.
Who?
Gene Krupa.
Gene Krupa and Buddy Rich were the two big band drummers in the States.
What do you...
No, Mooney on drums. It's got to be Mooney on drums.
What did Chick Corea play, by the way? You mentioned him earlier on, didn't you?
Keyboard.
Keyboards, yeah.
Was that keyboard?
Still he's not dead yet, is he?
Yeah, he died recently, didn't he?
Did he?
I think he died recently.
Jason Donovan had a bit of a shit career, didn't he? Yeah, but that's another story. No, go on. Next.
Well, it does. Okay, this does depend on the style of music, doesn't it?
I suppose it does.
Well, it does, because you couldn't put certain bassists with certain guitar. They'd have to have some kind of common musical route, because otherwise it would be chaos. So you'd have to go, what sort of band would I like?
That could be much more fun, though, couldn't it? It could be like Little Feat personified. You could have, yeah. It's quite difficult.
Well, you could have Keith. Right. You could have Keith Moon.
Keith Moon on drums,
playing with Keith Emerson on keyboards.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, because it would be mental.
Well, at that stage, you've got to have Jim Morrison on vocals, because there'd be so many drugs. There'd be so many drugs involved. They'd never make any music.
And guitarist then.
Okay, I would go.
Yeah.
We should do a drug band. That's what we're doing. So we're talking Mooney on drums, Morrison on vocals, Kossoff on guitar, Emerson on keyboards. What else do we need? Bass player.
And a vocalist. Oh, you got Morrison, haven't you?
Morrison on vocals. Right, drug-infused bass players. Anyone know any?
Sid Vicious.
That's Sid Vicious. Yeah, that would work.
Yeah, that would work. With someone else playing the bass guitar alongside him, obviously.
So someone actually playing the bass guitar.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
I'll tell you who I would have.
Go on then.
Mine
Tell
would be
us.
a rock band, obviously. It would be a blues rock type of band. So I would have.
I'm going to tell you, vocalist, you'll have Paul Rogers.
No, he's not dead.
Oh, that's
He's
true.
not
They've
dead.
got to be dead. All right. All right. Okay.
I would have John Bonham on drums. I would have Billy Powell on piano.
Powell on piano.
I'd have Rory Gallagher on guitar. I'd have Janis Joplin on vocals.
Oh.
And I would have John Entwistle on bass.
Have you got a keyboardist there?
Yeah,
Billy Powell. Yeah. What about a rhythm guitarist?
Glenn Frey.
Alan Collins.
Or two Leonard Skinners. I'd have to have Rick Parfitt.
Oh, no, hang on. I'd have Rick Parfitt. Yeah, I'd have Rick Parfitt.
Yeah.
Rick Parfitt. No. Who's Alan Collins?
He's Leonard Skinner, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, same as Billy Powell.
Collins, Rossington and Ed King.
They didn't have rhythm guitarists.
Well, they did. They just took it in turns. Anyway, Rick Parfitt. Yeah.
Rick Parfitt, yeah.
Rick Parfitt and Rory Gallagher will work really well together.
Well, they drink really well together. That's for certain.
That's also true. Well, so would Janis Joplin. I mean, they'd be going for it big time. Oh, and John Bonham. He'd be going for it big time.
So we've now got a drug-infused one and an alcohol-infused one.
So that would just leave John Entwistle and Billy Powell being sensible.
So okay, given all that, then I guess we go to the other one, which was we'd have to have Rolf Harris on lead vocals.
Oh, no, we're not having a pedo super. BBC. Gary Glitter on vocals. Gary Glitter on vocals, no?
Yeah,
Gary Glitter on vocals. Jonathan King on Little Boys. I mean,
he could be the producer.
He could be the producer, yeah.
No, who else is there?
Horrific idea.
There's some other, not alleged, actual convicted pedos, aren't there?
No, there's. What was the guy who's just died in prison? He was a vocalist, wasn't he?
Yeah, the guy from Lost Prophets.
Ian Watkins.
Ian Watkins. Yeah.
That was one of the great screw ups and a lawsuit, I'm sure, when Ian Watkins was arrested and convicted of all these horrific crimes. And in one paper, they had that story alongside a photo of him, but they put a photo of H from Steps. He's Ian Watkins, isn't he? Ian H. Watkins, I think. And they had a picture of him by him as well. It's got to be a lawsuit there, wouldn't it? Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would suspect that was a very, very big lawsuit. Someone got fired.
Is he the one who died? Is he the one who died out of Steps?
No, this one died.
Someone died in Steps.
Was it Steps or Sclub?
Oh no, that's no. It wasn't Steps. It was.
Was it Sclub? S Club.
It was S Club. Yeah, S Club 7.
Wasn't Rachel in S Club?
Yeah, she was. Yeah.
Good enough for you to listen to S Club.
No, not Rachel. Yeah, the little blonde one, you mean?
I don't know. Was it not Rachel Stevens? That's somebody else completely.
Rachel Stevens was in. She was his. What was she in? She was in Steps.
No.
I don't know.
Faye was in Steps. She's a Dunstable girl.
Oh yeah.
She's our most famous export.
Rachel Stevens' dad's got an estate agent up the road from us.
We're talking about reasons for not doing covers. I think Steps is a good example. To be honest. Like all due respect to your local resident.
Listen,
oh dear.
I think Dunstable's other famous local musician for a little while was Badly Drawn Boy.
Oh, Damon Gough, I think his name was.
I've got no idea. Badly Drawn Boy is the only name I know him by, and I think for a brief while he was a resident of Bedfordshire. Anyway, there we go.
Wow.
Good.
Good
So
stuff.
have we got our supergroups together then?
I think we have. Well, I mean, I don't know. I would probably have. I would have definitely Rick Parfitt as my bass guitarist.
Your bass
Sorry, as my
guitarist?
rhythm guitarist. I'd have Alan Lancaster as my bass guitarist. I'd have Francis Rossi as my lead guitarist, and
But
John
he's
Coglan
not
as my
dead.
drummer. No, they've got to be dead. All right, Rick Parfitt and Alan Lancaster is dead,
Yeah,
so we'd have him
that's
as a bass
very good.
guitarist.
You could have Lemmy on bass as well, though.
I could have George Harrison on lead guitar.
Yeah, you could. Yeah. And Mr. Lennon, of course.
I could have him. Yeah, he didn't do much lead work, did he? I suppose he did a bit. Macca did all sorts, didn't he?
Macca did an awful lot.
Licorice?
Licorice?
All sorts.
Oh, Licorice, all sorts.
Ah,
Yeah, I mean, I maybe wouldn't have Ringo in there.
no.
Well, he's
I suppose
he's
you
not
have
dead.
Rick
So
Wakeman in there.
Oh,
for
can I just
keyboards.
say,
He's not dead either.
Ringo's not dead, and nor is Macca.
No.
They don't
No.
count. The whole
No,
point
they
is these
don't.
people being dead.
It's got to be dead supergroup.
Dead.
Yeah, okay.
Dead
Dead
supergroup.
supergroup. So I can't have Rossi.
Roy Orbison.
and I
David
can't
Crosby.
have-
Could get
David
David Crosby in there
Crosby.
somewhere.
David Crosby, yeah. Chris Christopherson.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
a number recently
He
that
could be
died.
on mouth organ and bandana.
Frank Beard.
Yes, on drums. Yeah, sadly
Yeah.
he died the other day, didn't he?
Did he?
Yeah, yesterday.
And it
Yeah,
I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
well known fact, of course, the only one without a beard
Without
in
a
the
beard.
band.
Yeah.
The only thing
And-
he's known for.
On vocals, the most wonderful
Bonnie Tyler.
Welsh female songstress, Bonnie Tyler.
Yeah.
Or Kate Bush. No, she's not. She's not dead either. I'm losing
not
this.
dead.
I'm losing this
You are.
argument.
You're losing
It's getting late in the night, and you are suffering now. Bonnie
am
Tyler and Janis Joplin. A
Duo.
duet made in hell. I mean heaven.
Made in gravel. It's a duet made in gravel.
Cilla Black
This
is
has
another one.
been fun, hasn't it? This has been fun. Like
It has.
just chatting for no reason at all.
No. Yeah, and it's good. It was good fun. We got round. I was trying to think if we started off with a subject, whether we could ring it around and end up on a similar sort of concept. That would be just to finish it off and tie a little knot on it at the end, the cherry on top, as it were. But I'm not sure we're going to.
Are you talking about
well,
Jeff's trouble with the doors at the Reading Festival?
So
No.
I have nightmares about it still.
It wasn't tying a knot in it then.
No. So, yeah, covers. I always think covers. If an album does an artist does a covers album, I always think it's a bit of a contractual obligation almost.
Could
You know, like they're ending a record contract. I thought, yeah, I've got to do another album. Let's bung a covers one out. I mean, even Mac has done a covers album, and he's probably done a few now. But he did a covers album. Who's the other one recently I played? Oh, John Mellencamp did one. I mean, I think there's just a load of them.
Maybe it's when they get to the point of going, you know, I've got no other ideas to sing.
Well, this is it. They run out of ideas.
I might as well play
I think that the ideal covers album will be seeing Take That covering the Mahavishnu Orchestra. Go for it. That I could listen to.
Yeah, I don't
just
think
for
you could.
shits and giggles.
To be honest, I might listen to that. That might be.
I might listen to it the other way
funny
round.
music.
The other way round might be a right laugh.
What the
Maharishi,
Mahavishnu
but
Mahavishnu Orchestra
covering Take That. Yeah. That would be
Yeah.
relight my fire. Yeah, I can't see that. No,
Yeah.
Down Mancunian way. I can see
I
him
did
doing
play a version of Yes Sir I Can Boogie. I don't know if you heard that earlier on today by
did,
the Fratellis.
yes. It was,
Which is, and we saw them play that live actually. I thought this is
it.
a good
By the
laugh. I didn't realise.
Fratellis.
Yeah, by the Fratellis.
They
They did a version
were a
of
fun
the
band,
Baccarat
weren't
song.
they?
They were a what band?
They were a fun band, weren't they? They had a
Yeah, I
laugh.
thought they were good. They were good
I
Scottish
did as
bands.
well. I did.
Yeah. Even though they had a song called Chelsea Dagger. We don't
They
want
got
that.
some fantastic lyrics in some of their songs.
Yeah, they
I
did.
just felt like,
They did.
it's like,
But that's for another day. If we
It
have
is.
Mark 2 of our little chats, which I'm sure we could do. Shall we end it there? I think we will. We can go to bed.
yeah.
It's about time.
Thank you very much, guys, for our little random chats today. Hope you've enjoyed it at home as much as we have, watching on YouTube or X or Twitter. Sorry, Elon. Yeah, X. Or on the other thing, Facebook. That's the one. It'll be there forever. It'll be on Spotify. It'll be on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, all the places you normally get your podcasts. It'll be over the coming days when Shaggy gets around to doing it. And yeah, we haven't had we have had the BBC on today. There's definitely a link between Stinks being on and the BBC calling in, because we didn't have it last week. Have you had a chance to listen to last week's Scar show yet, Pete?
Not yet. No, I will listen to it later on.
You don't know what you've missed, mate. It was pure information.
It was. Geoff started it almost intelligently with a little summary. Is a summary the right word when it's at the start? I suppose it is. It's right at the end, a summary.
I don't know.
Introduction then.
No,
You don't know.
He's talking about upbeats and offbeats and all sorts of stuff. He was between ska and rocksteady and reggae. You can look forward to that.
I will.
But in the meantime, let's do it. Let's finish it. All I got left to say is it's a good night from me.
It's a good night from him.
Good night from them.